Hi, you're watching Reddit Confessions. Some stories unravel slowly. Mine? It unraveled the moment a leather bag unzipped in a VIP lounge, and everything I bottled up for 2 years spilled out. It started with the sound of heels. I wasn't even there, but I can hear them in my head every time I close my eyes. The sharp, confident rhythm of a woman who thought she had the world neatly tucked under her arm, along with her phone, her lipstick, and the lie she'd been carrying for months. What she didn't know was that she was also carrying me, or at least, what was left of me. I'm not proud of the man I've become. I used to flinch when she glanced at her screen too long. I'd rehearse texts for 20 minutes just to ask if she was coming home for dinner. If she canceled, I'd tell myself she deserved the night off. She worked hard. She needed space. I clung to the idea that love meant patience. But patience turns sour when it's never returned. The night before her career-defining meeting, she was floating. That's the word I'd use. Floating. She didn't touch the ground. She was spinning through the apartment, humming some 90s R&B song, laying out her outfit like it was prom. She called it just a quick client dinner, but I've never seen her wear perfume just for business. I noticed the shimmer on her collarbone, the one I used to kiss every morning. She didn't know I had seen the messages. I wasn't supposed to see them. Her phone lit up while she was brushing her teeth, and I wasn't snooping. Not exactly, but there it was. You looked so good in that blazer last time. I still think about that hallway. No name, just initials. See, it wasn't the message that broke me. It was how unsurprised I was. I didn't ask questions. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I walked into the kitchen, stared at the fridge magnet that said, "Love is a choice you make every day." I yanked it off, and then I made a choice too. Her purse was on the chair, wide open. That fancy leather thing she only uses when she wants to impress. I dropped my wedding ring into the inside pocket. Then I wrote 6 words on the back of an old receipt. Folded, neat, tucked next to the ring. She didn't notice anything when she left. Why would she? She already stopped seeing me months ago. What did the note say? Your mask fell. I saw everything. And just like that, the lie unraveled in the VIP lounge. She didn't text me after she arrived at the meeting. That wasn't unusual anymore. A year ago, she would have sent a selfie from the Uber, some emoji-filled message like, "Wish me luck briefcase kiss mark." But lately, silence had become her default. I used to think I was just being dramatic, that all couples fade a little over time. But there's a difference between fading and being erased. She was supposed to meet with someone high up, an investor or consultant, I think. I wasn't fully sure, because her answers about the event were always vague, even when I asked directly. Just some boring VIP thing. "Franklin, you'd fall asleep," she'd say with a soft pat on my shoulder like I was a puppy. But I wasn't asleep anymore. For the first hour after she left, I kept checking my phone, my heart unsure whether I wanted her to text or not. I wondered when exactly she'd reach into that bag. Before the handshake? During the prep? While touching up her lipstick? I imagined it. Her manicured hand brushing past her tablet, reaching into that slick leather pocket, feeling something cool and round. Her fingers curling around the ring. And then, the paper. Would she recognize my handwriting instantly? Would she glance around to see if someone was watching? The house felt too quiet without her fake energy bouncing off the walls. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the chair she always threw her jacket over. I tried to eat, but my stomach kept turning over itself. Not from guilt, from grief. The slow, suffocating kind of grief when you finally accept that the person you loved had already left long before you said goodbye. Around 6:43 p.m., she finally messaged. "No hi. No love you. Just one sentence." What is this, Franklin? I stared at it for a long time. My thumbs hovered above the screen. I could have said a lot. I could have told her how small I'd felt for months. How I'd noticed the perfume changes, the late nights, the way she never really looked at me during dinner. I could have told her I saw the messages, all of them. But I only replied, "It's the truth, Tessa. You dropped your mask. I just helped you notice." She didn't respond. Not that night. Not the next morning either. But someone else did. And that's when things took a turn I never expected. The next morning, I woke up to an unfamiliar number flashing across my phone screen. No contact name. No emojis. Just a string of digits that pulsed with a kind of dread I couldn't quite explain. For a moment, I stared at it, debating whether to answer. Then it rang again. Same number. Same silence between rings. On the third call, I picked up, my voice trembling with that quiet anxiety I never let anyone see. Hello. The voice on the other end was a man's. Calm, direct, and terrifyingly familiar. Is this Franklin? Tessa's husband? I didn't answer right away. My throat tightened. Who the hell was this? I think we need to talk, he continued. You left a note. She's not taking it well. I sat up, heart hammering. Who are you? There was a pause. Then, I'm Carter. I work with Tessa. Or I used to. Carter. The mysterious C. The man from the messages. The one who still thought about that hallway. I wanted to throw the phone across the room. My fingers curled into my bedsheet, rage threatening to surface, but I kept my voice steady, though barely. I know who you are, I said. I figured. Look, this wasn't how it was supposed to go. She told me you two were separated. That it was over. That you were staying together for tax reasons or something. I didn't know you were still trying. Trying. That word stung more than I expected. You believe that? I asked. That we were separated, even though she wore her ring every day? He hesitated. She took it off when she was with me. That line hit like a punch to the ribs. I didn't ask him to explain further. I didn't want details. I didn't want the color of the room or the wine they drank. I didn't want to know how many hotel suites she'd called client meetings. I just wanted this man's voice out of my ear and out of my life. You didn't call to confess? I said flatly. Why are you really calling? Carter let out a breath. She's planning something. She was humiliated yesterday when she opened that bag in front of the investor. She thought it was some kind of twisted prank. She's not thinking straight, and she blames you. Blames me. I laughed bitterly. She lies, cheats, and gets caught. And now I'm the villain? I'm not defending her, he replied quickly. I just thought you should know. She said she's coming home to talk. But she's angry. And when Tessa gets angry, he didn't finish the sentence. The call ended soon after, leaving me sitting in bed, phone still in my hand, chest tight. I didn't know what scared me more, the fact that the man who'd taken my wife was warning me about her, or the fact that I believed him. I didn't leave the house that day. I sat in the silence, waiting. At 4:17 p.m., I heard the key turn in the lock. And I knew. This wasn't going to be a conversation. This was going to be war. The door clicked shut behind her like it always did. Soft, effortless, no drama. She didn't slam it, didn't kick her heels off like usual, didn't toss her bag onto the table like she owned the place. Instead, she walked in slowly, calm as glass, like she had just returned from a spa day. I watched from the kitchen, frozen in place, clutching a half-full mug of cold coffee I didn't even remember pouring. Her eyes met mine, and for the briefest second, I saw the panic hiding behind her composure. But it vanished so fast I almost doubted it had been there at all. She set her bag down carefully, adjusted her blazer, then walked straight past me like I wasn't even there. Tessa, I said, but it came out more like a breath than a name. She didn't turn around. Instead, she stood in front of the mirror by the hallway, fixing her lipstick with small, calculated strokes. I could hear my heart pounding in my ears. Then she finally spoke. Do you feel better now? Her voice was flat. Not angry, not upset. Just cold. It chilled me more than if she'd screamed. I didn't answer. You embarrassed me, she said, still staring at her reflection. You ruined a deal I've been building for months. I didn't ruin anything, I said, my voice trembling. You did. The moment you decided I wasn't enough. She finally turned toward me, her eyes scanning my face like I was a spreadsheet she had to solve. It wasn't about you. You just stayed still for too long, Franklin. You never changed. Never challenged me. I needed someone who reminded me I was alive. I felt like I'd been punched. I wanted to argue, to throw every kind thing I'd ever done for her in her face. The sacrifices, the nights waiting for her to come home, the years of shrinking myself so she could shine. But I didn't say any of that. I just stood there, letting her words twist deeper. I loved you, I whispered. She sighed, almost pitying me. Maybe you did. But love isn't enough when you're sleepwalking through life. That broke something in me. Sleepwalking? I'd been the one carrying us. I was the one holding up the illusion while she danced in and out of hotel rooms with Carter or whoever else made her feel alive. I took a step closer. Then why stay? Why keep pretending if you already checked out? Her silence was deafening. She picked up her phone, typed something quickly, then looked back at me. I'm moving out next week. Carter found me a place. So it was true. All of it. And he was still involved. She hadn't even tried to deny it. I didn't cry. I thought I would. But I didn't. As she turned to leave the room, she stopped at the door and said, "Next time, if you want to send a message, try doing it before the meeting, not during it." I should have felt victorious. I should have felt like I'd exposed her. But all I felt was small. She didn't just cheat on me. She outgrew me and didn't bother to tell me until she'd already replaced me. 2 days later, I was still sitting with her last words playing on repeat in my head. Try doing it before the meeting. Like my heartbreak had disrupted her agenda. Like my truth was just a poorly timed inconvenience. The silence in the apartment was thick now, not the peaceful kind, but the kind that pressed on your chest and reminded you exactly how empty everything had become. Her things were still here. The makeup on the bathroom counter. The blazer she didn't take. The open cereal box she left half-finished. And her perfume, that cloying, expensive scent that lingered in every corner like a ghost that refused to leave. I didn't touch anything. Not because I hoped she'd come back. I just didn't have the energy to erase her yet. That evening, I received a calendar alert on my phone. Dinner reservation at La Petite Ivy, 7:30 p.m. I had made it 3 weeks ago. A surprise. A simple just us evening at her favorite overpriced restaurant. I'd booked it during a time when I still believed we were just going through a rough patch. Back when I thought effort could fix the distance between us. I remember practicing how I'd say it. "You've been busy. I've been quiet. Let's reconnect." What a joke. Still, I went. Maybe out of habit. Maybe to punish myself. I wore the shirt she said brought out the color in my eyes. I sat at that small corner table with the view of the city, alone, sipping water while the host kept glancing over, clearly wondering why my +1 hadn't shown. I stared at the empty chair in front of me and tried to imagine the version of Tessa that would have cared enough to sit across from me again. Then the waiter arrived. Tall, polite, probably younger than the wine list. "Are we still waiting for the second guest, sir?" I looked up, swallowed the lump in my throat, and said, "No, she's not coming." He nodded slowly, like he understood something I hadn't said aloud. "Would you like to order anyway?" I did. I ordered her favorite pasta, the same one she used to steal bites of from my plate, claiming hers was too spicy. I left her chair empty and the other glass untouched. I didn't eat much, but I stayed through dessert. Not because I was hungry. I just wasn't ready to go back to the apartment that still smelled like her lies. As I walked out, a woman brushed past me. She looked a bit like Tessa from behind. Same hair, same walk. My heart jumped before my brain reminded it how stupid it was. I stopped on the sidewalk, staring at the reflection of the restaurant in the glass of a nearby building. That's when it hit me. I wasn't just mourning her. I was mourning the version of myself that believed I was enough for her. Back home, I sat in the dark. No TV, no music, just the hum of the fridge and the question I couldn't shake. Had she ever actually loved me, or did I just fill the space until someone more alive came along? It wasn't just a marriage ending. It was a quiet funeral for the life I thought I was building. The next morning, I found her phone. She must have forgotten it in her rush out the door, tucked between the couch cushions, vibrating softly against the fabric like it was trying to be found. I stood over it, staring. Part of me didn't want to touch it. I'd already seen enough. I already knew enough. But curiosity is a cruel voice, and in silence, it gets louder. I picked it up and saw 6 missed messages from Carter. No names, just C. But I didn't need the name to know the tone. The preview on the lock screen was enough to make my stomach twist. Last night was intense. Hope you're okay. Still thinking about that moment by the window. I shouldn't have, but I unlocked it. I remembered her passcode, her birth year, twice. Typical Tessa, memorable, clever, slightly narcissistic. The message thread opened like a wound. Months of conversations, disguised behind abbreviations and emojis, spelled out a story I hadn't been invited to. Hotels, private meetings, business trips that ended in laughter and wine. One message stopped me cold. "You sure he won't find out?" And her reply? "He wouldn't notice if I disappeared for days. He's too soft, too busy watching me from the sidelines." That's what I was to her. Soft. Background noise. I put the phone down, but I couldn't unsee the words. I sat back, hands trembling, every doubt I'd suppressed slamming into me at once. It was never just one moment of betrayal. It was a slow erosion. One that I mistook for normal distance, for stress, for the inevitable wear of time. But she hadn't drifted, she'd escaped. Quietly. While I was still building a future with her in my mind, She was untying herself from me, string by string. I didn't confront her when she returned that evening. She didn't even ask if I'd seen the phone. She picked it up, checked it, tossed it back in her bag, and went to the bedroom without a word. Like nothing had happened. Like I was the stranger in her space now. But that night, I made a decision. I opened my laptop and booked a storage unit across town. I started pulling boxes from the closet, silently stacking the pieces of my life that didn't belong to her anymore. My books, my records, the photo albums she never bothered to open, the hoodie she used to steal when she felt cold. I folded it and shoved it to the bottom of the bin like it was evidence of a past I needed to bury. Around midnight, she walked into the living room and just watched me for a moment. "You're really doing this?" she asked, arms crossed. I looked up. "You already did." She didn't argue. She didn't cry. She just nodded slowly, turned around, and walked away. No fight. No apology. No attempt to stop me. Just silence. It was the loudest goodbye I've ever heard. I thought packing would feel empowering, like reclaiming some piece of myself. But it didn't. It felt like I was folding my spine into cardboard, compressing 9 years of love, disappointment, and denial into boxes labeled miscellaneous. Each item I touched came with a memory I hadn't prepared for. The coffee mugs we bought on our road trip to Asheville. The throw blanket we argued over in the store, but later used during every movie night. Her book with dog-eared pages I never dared straighten. But it was what I found at the back of the hallway closet that knocked the wind out of me. An old vision board we made together. I had forgotten it even existed. We'd made it our 2nd year of marriage, cutting out magazine clippings, writing notes, dreaming about vacations and a future house. Her handwriting was everywhere, looping and full of flair. Lake Cabin, Italy for our 10-year anniversary. Franklin's side business. I just sat on the floor staring at it, like it was an artifact from a forgotten civilization. That board belonged to a version of her I hadn't seen in years. A version of us that maybe never existed outside that board. She came home while I was still holding it. I didn't hide it. I wanted her to see it, to remember. But she barely glanced at it as she dropped her keys into the bowl. "That was cute," she said, and walked toward the bedroom like it was nothing more than a crayon drawing from a kid she didn't recognize. I followed her. I had to. "So that's all it is now?" I asked. 9 years, reduced to cute. She turned, arms folded, already on the defensive. "Franklin, what do you want me to say? That I'm sorry? That I regret it? I don't. I changed. You didn't." "I stayed," I said, my voice cracking. "Through everything. Even when you pulled away. I stayed because I thought that's what love was supposed to be." She didn't flinch. "No, you stayed because you were afraid to evolve. Afraid to push back. You became small, Franklin, and I couldn't breathe in that smallness anymore." That hurt more than anything she'd ever said to me, because deep down, some part of me believed it. "Then why didn't you just leave?" I asked. "Why wait until you had someone else to catch you?" She looked away, her jaw tightening. "Because part of me still hoped you'd fight for me. That maybe you'd wake up one day and be the version of you I needed." And when I finally did fight, I whispered, "You called it sabotage." She blinked, just once, and I saw something flicker in her expression. Guilt, maybe, or regret. But it disappeared just as quickly. "I'm leaving Sunday," she said. "Carter's picking me up." That name again, like a gavel slamming down. I nodded. "Then I'll be gone before that." As I walked back to the living room, I passed the vision board still sitting on the floor. I thought about throwing it out, burning it, ripping it in half. Instead, I folded it once, carefully, and packed it away with the rest of my forgotten dreams. I left before sunrise. No dramatic exit. No slamming doors. Just me, my boxes, and the sound of my tires humming against empty streets. I didn't leave a note. She already had the only one that mattered. The one I tucked into her designer purse the morning her double life collapsed into reality. The ring she found was never just a goodbye. It was me reclaiming the part of myself I had handed over too easily, too quietly, for far too long. I moved into a small apartment across the river. Nothing fancy. 1 bedroom, creaky floors, a heater that sounds like it's coughing, and windows that let in too much noise from the street. But it's mine. And for the first time in years, I feel like I'm actually in my life, not just waiting for someone else to notice I'm in the room. Tessa didn't contact me again. No calls, no texts, no explanations. Maybe she thought I'd beg her to stay. Maybe part of her wanted me to chase her down, prove her wrong about how soft I was. But I didn't, because I finally understood I was never too soft. I was just with someone who mistook kindness for weakness. I started therapy last month. That decision alone felt like a rebellion against the version of myself who would have bottled everything up. I've been journaling again, reading more. I even signed up for a cooking class, because for years I only ever made food she liked. Turns out, I'm actually good at it. Who knew? And one evening, while unpacking the last of my boxes, I found that vision board. I didn't cry this time. I unfolded it, smoothed out the creases, and crossed out everything that wasn't mine to chase anymore. Then I added something new in the corner, in my own handwriting. Rediscover who I am. I may have lost the woman I thought I'd grow old with, but somewhere in the middle of the heartbreak, I found someone else worth fighting for. Me. Thanks for watching Reddit Confessions. If you made it this far, I'd love to hear from you. Which moment in this story hit you the hardest? Was it the note? The dinner? The phone? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you've ever left something behind to find yourself again, we're listening. See you next time.